but I think eventually they will have to give.
I have to ask.
I think
The weirdest one.
I'll be more open off camera with this, but we've seen like really weird ways of, not innovating.
Yeah.
From ke bahut महंगा है, that's so easy. That's the easiest.
Yeah.
Money, exactly, the money part.
Money is a big one.
Who's
That's
curious?
really cool. I hope this lab opens. I would be the first one in line to come and check it out.
So we do cool stuff, but we might come off as being a little boring at times.
So today we have actually someone very exciting with us on Freestyling. I've got Usman, Siddique here with me. I'm not going to do a very long intro because I want him to actually explain to us what is it that he does. So, hi Usman.
Hi.
Welcome to the 89 podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So we've been talking about this a little bit off camera as well, but I really want people to know because it blows my mind how cool it is that you do digital out-of-home advertising.
Yes.
Right? That's essentially what you do?
Cool. So I think I'll just give a very layman definition right now.
Yeah.
And as we discuss, I think we can
We'll
dive
keep
deeper.
I'll keep asking all my layperson questions.
So I think... So we're a marketing technology company.
Okay.
So we design, develop technology, and we merge it with advertising.
Right.
So we find out what the consumers or the clients are looking for in terms of their marketing needs, and then we backwork technology, and then we strategize for their campaigns. So essentially, we've cherry-picked all the cool stuff within marketing, and then we execute that. So that's sort of like a start.
Yeah.
So we've done some benchmark campaigns, some benchmark technology जो पाकिस्तान में पहले नहीं थी.
Right.
और कुछ हम आगे भी काम करें, which we feel for a very long time we're going to be the only ones working on those technologies.
So if there was a little 6-year-old boy, how would you explain your job to him?
So ideally, I wouldn't have to. I would maybe develop something that's so creative.
To show him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we are after, whenever we deploy a campaign, to get that moment of awe from the consumers. And we've done these campaigns, we've seen people stopping on the road, on their bike, at times forgetting that they're on the road.
Yeah.
And those are the moments that we sort of live for. So to answer your question, we design something so creative or so magical that a 6-year-old is like, dude, that's amazing.
Very cool. Okay, let's go back a little bit to your origin story. Like, where did it? Because you're very young. It's really cool to be doing so much work and such great work at this age. How did you get here?
So I think I always wanted to do something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I also traveled abroad. I was born in the Middle East, and then I came to Pakistan. So there was a huge delta as to that world and this world. And I came back in class 6. So I've always had this sort of gap as to how things were being done over here versus anywhere else in the world. And our exposure was always Western. So I always want to do something that sort of, bridged that gap.
Right.
And then I sort of went from place to place. It was very random.
It's also when you travel abroad, generally you get all these other experiences that over here we take our experiences for granted for like everyday stuff here.
Exactly.
But when you go abroad and you see something shiny and new and or something different that you don't get back home, you're like, I want to bring this home.
That excites you, right?
Yeah.
And so it was very random. I joined a technology company just like that because they just saw an ad in the newspaper. They were looking for someone. So
here?
I went in Pakistan.
Okay.
It was one of the early technology companies, and I was like a business graduate. But that was my first job. So over there, I learned how technology worked, even though I was not technical, but I worked with technical people.
Okay.
So I loved to see it was like an outsourcing company. So they would make applications for our clients in the US. So I understood what technology was, why this was being implemented over there. Then I moved to a marketing company. Then for my own company, I tried to merge technology and advertising.
That's amazing.
So it was never a plan.
Yeah.
But because I love technology, I saw it grow. And I then also understood marketing.
Yeah.
Then I was like, how about we merge it together? So it was really tough. It wasn't as easy as...
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah, but it's fun at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what kept us going.
I think that's why we keep doing the things that we're doing, right?
Absolutely.
Because of that creative aspect of our jobs. You have to kind of think outside the box.
Yeah.
And that's what drives you.
And the toughest days, that's how you get through the toughest days.
Yeah.
And there are many tough days. Being in Pakistan, you're working on technology.
Right.
There are many tough days. But that excitement sort of keeps you going.
So what's it like in your office? Like, what's the vibe like? Are there a lot of creative people running around? Is it a big team, small team?
So it's just a relatively very small team.
Right.
Everybody specializes in their own domains. And the culture is whenever we sit down to think of an idea, we go from shock in terms of the ideas that we're coming up with, कि possibility hai, nahi hai. And then we just go into problem solving as to how we're going to get this done. So it's just sort of, people trying new things. And, I let them go for what they're thinking. I trust them in their thought process. And the only brief is be as crazy as you possibly can. The whole company is going to work to make it a possibility.
Right.
So that's how we...
So the projects that you're working on, so let's just, for everyone out there, digital out of home, what is it exactly? Sure. I mean, I've done my research because I was like, we were talking about this, that I used to work in digital advertising before. Cool. So my favorite part of my job was the strategy part, where a client would come and give us a brief and they'd be like, whoa, we have this campaign and we want to do something cool. And back then, we were launching all these campaigns with all the telcos, and we were doing new stuff. Like it was a first banner ad, first motion banner ad, first page takeover.
That was the innovation at that time.
It was a lot of fun actually to work not just with our local development team, but also we were working with a team in Belgium that was teaching us how to actually put the banner ads together, because obviously it was a first for us too. So I'm sure
there was a lot of learning at that time.
A lot of learning, and also just talking to them and also finding out like it's the same over there. Like, you think that, first world and our worlds are apart, but we had the same issues. Our boss was annoying us. We would sit and talk about that too. So these things were all the same. So do you guys do a lot of collaboration with companies abroad?
So we've been in touch with companies abroad. So we've also expanded or trying to expand internationally. Last year, we've done international campaigns in Malaysia and UAE. So we work with international teams at the same time.
Right.
Plus, a lot of our suppliers are internationally sort of based. So we do deal with all of these people. But we have to localize because the environment that those people are working in and ours is very different. Because in your case, digital or the website was the same thing. But in our case, outdoor, it's a totally different world altogether. The way the whole hierarchy in terms of politics is structured, in terms of how the organizations are structured, it's totally different.
Money,
exactly. The money part.
is a big one.
Exactly.
Okay, so people normally, when, like, for example, if I go up to, say, my grandmother or like my father and I say outdoor, because my dad is marketing background, but he's old school marketing, right? So he was doing it back when there was no digital.
Sure.
So if I tell him outdoor, he will think billboard, right? Most people in Pakistan think that. But what is it that you guys do?
So we do creative and digital out of home. And I'll tell you an example. Before I went into the marketing world, I was just like a tech person. So it's not billboard, koi bhi nahi dekhte the. But there was this billboard, I still remember, because I'm based in Karachi. So Askari 4 ke upar, Cadbury ka, there was this billboard. And, they had fabricated this one person sitting on top of that, like a chocolate guy.
Yeah.
And I remember
that one.
Yeah, every time I used to pass, I was like, why is this guy sitting over there?
Yeah.
And it didn't mean anything much to me. But now I understand that was creative marketing.
Yeah.
Just with that basic fabrication, they were able to get my attention. And, I still remember Cadbury. So we do creative out of home and we do digital out of home. So we try to merge creative strategy and we also try to merge technology in the outdoor arena. So outdoor arena is anything that when you step out from your home and when you don't get to a destination. So any place in between. So the mall is indoor, your house is indoor. Everything outside is outdoor. So from billboards to creative installations to LED screens to holograms that we do, projection mapping, 3D billboard, everything is basically out of home. And it's a vast arena, like you can imagine, right? So internationally, bahut kuch ho raha hai. They're branding on cars, there are 3D billboards.
Yeah, you have like lions jumping out of billboards and coming at you. I've seen those like popping up all over YouTube and stuff like that. So it's a whole new world. It's very cool.
The 3D, so we were the first company to do a 3D billboard in Pakistan. Because we were looking at all of these videos internationally. And we had limitations in terms of hardware in Pakistan. So we essentially also became like the first company in the world to do a 3D billboard, but with projection mapping.
Right.
So that was also one of the cases that we went for FEs because we sort of, innovated our way through lack of resources, right? So globally, this happens on an LED. LEDs are very expensive, especially on that scale. So we sort of did it through projection mapping.
Yeah. No, trust me, I know. I know how expensive LEDs are. We keep asking.
लेकिन
कि
मिलते
rent
नहीं
करना
है.
है? Rent भी is also like so expensive.
Yeah.
And then you need multiple ones for bigger spaces.
Exactly.
So just to really get into it, because I'm really curious about
Sure.
how it works.
Sure.
Right? How do you guys put everything together? Like from point A to point B, like how do you, what's the technology involved?
Sure.
How much of a human element is involved? Like what is the
Sure.
process?
So it's at this stage, because we're essentially developing a lot of the technology in-house,
Right.
because we cannot import the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. So I'll give you an example through a campaign. So we did this campaign for Food Panda. They wanted to launch Panda Mart in Islamabad. So we went to Islamabad. We did a little bit of research as to how we can get people's attention. What can we do in terms of a deployment that can sort of become like an online viral campaign. So we sort of ideated, and then we came up with a large format hologram that happened for the first time in Pakistan. So that was one of the ideas we recommended to them. So we did end to end, like कहाँ होना चाहिए, कितनी देर के लिए होना चाहिए, content क्या होना चाहिए.
Oh, so you guys picked the place too.
Exactly, and
to get the maximum mileage
exactly.
of like foot traffic.
Yes.
or eyeballs or whatever.
Exactly, and then getting the permission, deploying it, having the videography done, helping in PR. That was the complete thing end to end.
Oh wow, okay.
So just by this example, you can understand that we took their brief that they wanted to launch in Islamabad, and they wanted to sort of create a buzz. So just by that brief, we did all of that. We brought in a new technology. We strategized around it, and we did end to end. That was a massive campaign. So the CEO at that time of Pakistan, they appreciated us. They connected us with the CEO, global CEO in Germany. And they had all of the regional CEOs sit down in a meeting, and they praised our work that happened in Pakistan.
Very
So that was
cool.
like a proud moment for us.
Very cool.
So that's how we ideated, because we did not restrict ourselves कि पाकिस्तान में पहले कभी hologram हुआ है, क्या हम कर सकेंगे, क्या इस जगह पे कर सकेंगे, इतनी wind में कर सकेंगे. We solved for all of that.
The wind affects holograms as well.
Yes, because Islamabad winds are crazy winds.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
I would think even Karachi, like you put something up near the beach.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So we are also planning on doing something on the beach really soon. It's going to be really cool.
Okay.
Hopefully soon, like on the beach.
Very
like
cool.
Inside the water. So
Can't wait to come inside. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, I know. I can't answer too many of those.
I know,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
want to be there when you
For
you
sure,
get
we
it done.
will invite you guys.
Definitely. Okay. So digital is also like one of the best things about digital is that you can actually calculate data. You can actually get all of that data. So what game does data play within your, because it's outside.
Yeah.
There's thousands of people passing by if your hologram is there. How
Yeah.
do you guys collect data for that?
So we've done some basic calculations, but we're working towards sort of really authentic data moving forward. And I'll give you examples as to how we're doing. So one is me actually being on ground and looking at people just stopping at the road, like you just said.
Yeah.
So एक तो वो awe के अंदर हमें समझ में आता है कि अगर
That's how we do it in radio.
I know. So I think that's the starting point, because
Word of mouth. Yeah.
Exactly. So but we're trying to sort of come down to numbers. There are 2-3 ways that we're doing that. First is audience measurement. So we've got this technology that we can count the number of cars that are passing by.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah? And then we want to sort of partner up with an on-ground team that can do like an exit interview. So like if 100 cars pass, so they'll stop them with the next signal maybe, and then they can interview. Did you see something? What did you see? What brand was it? And just by this sample size, we can get to know exactly, in total 5,000 cars passed.
Right.
And we interviewed like a sample of 500, and 400 saw. So, for example, that's the number that we come out.
Yeah, I would think that it would be easier to do that outside of a mall rather than doing it on a main road.
It is tough. It is tough. But the deployments that we do, the good part is we get people who sort of come to us. कि कैसे हो रहा है? So we got like a curious nation.
Yeah.
Like the families. So we sort of get people coming to us. कि कैसे हो रहा है? क्या हो रहा है?
So लोग जमा हो जाते हैं. Yeah.
And I remember one of these campaigns was happening in 2021 when there was this lockdown. So we were doing this hologram campaign.
Yeah.
And we were doing this in Rawalpindi commercial market. And there was this army that used to come, an army car or whatever you call it. So people लोग जमा होते थे, वो आके वहाँ पे ऐलान करते थे. So as soon as the car would go, again 100 people would come in. So that's the fun part about technology, that you get people, that people sort of come
And
in.
you capture their attention with other things.
And then we sort of also do calculate through digital. So each of our campaigns has a specific hashtag that people use, that they can share and reshare. And then we also monitor how many people are sharing it, because the whole idea of doing something interesting on ground is people come in, they record, and then they share it.
Absolutely.
So we also monitor that. So these are the ways that we can come up to one number maybe that
I had seen years ago, there was a campaign in Europe somewhere where they had done like an interactive kind of projection campaign where they had connected two cities together.
Yeah.
Right. So are you planning on any kind of interactive campaigns also in the future?
So we've already developed interactive campaigns. We've also done some campaigns.
Right.
So we're about to do this one immersive experience for one of the biggest brands in Pakistan, which is interactive. So it is basically motion sensors, the touch-based interaction. So a lot of different types of interactions are going to happen. So we already do that.
Okay.
So the idea is not just our USP is not just sort of developing those technologies, but also sort of merging them with a campaign. So we know how to use that technology for the campaign that's going on, right? So there are a lot of good campaigns. I think we'll share some of them with you as well. And for the future ones, I'm sure we'll invite you to come.
I'm there. I'm 100% coming. I want to see the underwater one. That would be really cool.
Right.
So because I used to work in digital advertising, I have all these bookmark websites, right? And like I go through all these like campaign websites and stuff that have these cool things happening all over the world. Because again, I'm also curious, right? I want to know how it works. I want to know how these campaigns get put together. And like I also want to know the behind the scenes, not just the end result. End result is cool. Everyone loves it. That's why they win all these awards. But I also want to know how they put all of that stuff together. What's the coolest campaign that you've come across?
So my coolest campaign is about to happen. But other than that, I think they're cool because of the situation we were in at that time. So doing the first 3D billboard and through projections, and that also happening for like one of the biggest brands, international. We did it for Unilever, and doing it at Liberty Roundabout. It was a massive challenge, and the moment that we were able to do it, it's very technical because you have to see it through one angle. The content, jaise aap bole, the share bahar aa raha hota hai. So it's not that easy. So when that happened, I think that was one of the good campaigns. We did this Liberty Roundabout hologram that was for Food Panda. So Liberty is sort of like the heart of Lahore. So they've got this monument. Jiske upar in history no campaign has happened. So we took special permission from a lot of people, and we did like a 50 by 20 feet hologram on top of that. So we were the only ones who's ever done it, and ab I think unhone sabko mana kar diya. So we're really proud of that campaign.
I mean, it's a great space. They should use it to their full advantage. But you would also assume that people get so distracted that there's traffic jams.
Yeah. So one side is that. The other side is obviously a little bit of competition, not being happy with a lot of the things that we're doing. So it's a combination of both.
Right. Is there a lot of competition in your field?
Well, not directly, but indirectly, because people are not too happy with us disrupting. So I think it happens naturally. Anybody who's trying to disrupt the space, people are going to sort of put up some roadblocks.
So this is something that I was also very curious about. So you started young. You told us your origin story. But like Pakistanis generally don't like change, right? They're very averse to. They're like, "Haan, chal raha hai to." I mean, I work in mainstream media, so I know, and I'm happy with them not changing. To an extent, but like anything new or different initially, especially from the client end, they're like, unless they don't physically see it happen. We're a nation that loves to jump on a bandwagon, right? They see, that country did it, so they did it, and then it worked, so we'll also do it.
Absolutely.
So we don't want to. We're very risk averse, and we're very scared to try new things. And now after 2020, we're even more scared.
Yes.
So how is it, like, how did you get all of this together and then go and pitch it out? The first pitch you ever did to a client, what was it like?
So I think you need to sort of show in a lot of confidence yourself. So because we're leading it, we need to be the confident ones that, why we're doing it, what is going to happen, and sort of take away the risk from the client's end. So maybe, from a price standpoint, be a little reasonable. From a location standpoint, be a little reasonable. But much more than that, I think the new generation that's coming in, young people, they are the ones who are trying to change this within their own organization. So, so we need to first convince them. They need to then convince their higher ups. So it's uphill battle. But the global trend or the global wave is so prominent that, no matter how much somebody wants to stop it, they can't do it. So we've seen some really weird ways of trying to stop innovation in companies with our competition. But I think eventually they will have to give.
I have to ask.
I think
The weirdest one.
I'll be more open off camera with this, but we've seen like really weird ways of, not innovating.
Yeah.
From ke bahut महंगा है, that's so easy. That's so easy.
Yeah. So I was going to say, on one hand, you have the curiosity and you have people being like, oh, wow, yes, I definitely, this is really cool. I want to do this for my brand. So it stands out. Yeah. And then on the other hand, you have money, which is the biggest challenge especially in our economy right now, and generally with everyone being so safe with their budgets and being so, I mean, we're feeling the brunt of it. So I'm sure you guys also, because your technology is not cheap, it's expensive. Yeah. So how do you manage that?
So one of the most important messages that we've been giving to inside boardrooms to all of these senior executives is that they need to take a strategic call as to cost benefit analysis, and this is the most important time where they have to innovate.
Right.
So either they can keep on doing the conventional thing, and the budget over there is also dropping, or they sort of within that same budget do something creative, cool, and go beyond or sort of break that barrier.
Right.
And we've seen this over and over again in global case studies. That always works. You just need to sort of take that step. And then I'm sure you also see it. कि जो पैसे हैं भी वो भी they're also being wasted in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So people might just go for a 10 million rupee billboard for a month rather than doing something else,
and it's
which is
very basic.
It's very basic, and everybody knows now how to block it. Now we're okay with blocking out ads on a phone. So एक static billboard block करना mentally तो कुछ भी नहीं.
Yeah.
So I think they need to really innovate, and that's the strategic shift they need to do, because right now is the time. क्योंकि जितना आप problem के अंदर होगे, if you don't innovate, you will just die out.
Okay, so when you go into these boardrooms and you're convincing them to not, you're taking my money away, basically. Yeah. Digital. Thank you. And now I know who to come after.
No, I think, but we're also adding to it eventually. Yeah.
I mean, if we work together, it would be even sweeter.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, as an entrepreneur, what are some of the challenges that you faced? Like starting something up in Pakistan, to also just generally challenges?
So I think there's severe challenges for anybody who's trying to do something. I think globally, Pakistan के थोड़े से unique challenges हैं. Because यहाँ पे आपको mentors नहीं मिलते हैं, and the people that I've tried to work with, unfortunately, wanted to work with me as opposed to just help me out working. But access to capital, changing the mindsets within Pakistan.
Right.
Sort of, innovation has always been sort of difficult in Pakistan. But I would just say, the resources that we have, then there's sort of really huge barricades. Even if you want to import technology from abroad, you can't import. You understand that's a ban.
Yeah.
Then resources, talented resources, I don't think we find too many of these. And I think that's also one point, because your audience is, in that age group. I see a lot of people who are unclear, especially in the youth, who don't have a direction, who don't know, who don't understand as to...
This new generation especially, I keep complaining that all these kids that come to us, they don't have that drive, they don't have that passion. I remember at that age, we were literally sitting there and we were like looking at the rest of the world being like, maine ye bhi karna hai, ye bhi karna hai, ye bhi karna hai. And even now, within our workspaces, because we're in creative fields, we're constantly coming across all these cool things that are happening everywhere else around the globe. And we're like, we can easily do it here. It's just that we don't put in the kind of work that goes into it. We want the easy way out. We're like, okay, Chinese ke saath hum partnership kar lenge, we bring it over here, and then we'll execute it.
So I think that's a very good point, and I'll come back to second point first, but this is a more important point. Ke Pakistan ke bade businesses jo hai na, businessmen that maybe we don't hear about, majorly they're just resellers, right? So we just get technologies, or they just import the LEDs and they'll just start renting it,
right?
Or they'll just start selling it, as opposed to maybe innovating on top of that. Because that's maybe the easy way out, and that just does not require too much of innovation or risk maybe. So I think that also needs to change if
that
you want
mindset.
To sort of exactly. Agar hame, if we need to be self-sufficient in terms of a nation, I think that needs to change.
Right.
But secondly, for our upcoming generation, I think they're very restless in the sense, the focus everybody, I think, do they want to talk about politics or do they want to sort of listen to K-pop? We're just so highly stimulated
Yes.
by everything.
Yeah.
I think that will totally affect how you focus and how you do something in the long term, because
Right.
doing anything it takes a lot of persistence, and you can't do it with a restless mind.
But then you have people like you coming in on our podcast talking about what you've done and what you've achieved. That should, I mean, essentially, hopefully, it should spark something somewhere, right? Because this is a really cool job that you have.
Yeah.
It's something that the creativity element and then mixing in the technology element.
Yeah.
It's the entire world is your oyster. You
Yeah.
could play around with any kind of campaign and turn it into something really creative.
Exactly. So I feel that we've sort of been able to create like a arena for all of this new generation to come in and sort of actually make an impact, because we're giving the platform of the clientele, of the technology, and any work that they do will have an impact, will go on ground, and will be sort of massive in the times to come.
Right.
So like we've got this 18-year-old developer, and he's one of the sharpest kids, and he loves. Just yesterday I was talking to him. He loves what he does because he's working on one of these cool immersive campaigns.
Yeah.
And I can see how this job resonates with him, and that he feels that he's making an impact or he's contributing to something tangible that's going to go on ground. So I think we feel that we're creating that platform, and I do see that this generation needs that direction, and I'm extremely hopeful that once they have that direction, they will be able to contribute.
So one of the things that these kids always turn around and say, especially to us as well, like, because we interact with them quite a bit because of our jobs, right? One of the things they always say is that we don't have enough opportunities. Like, who's going to guide us? Who's going to tell us that, there's this. In Pakistan, everyone has always made it up, like, it's a very generic thing. Doctor bano, ye bano. They put everybody in boxes.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore, though.
Yeah.
There's so much happening here that's so different. Like, my job is very different.
Yeah.
It's not the norm.
Exactly.
For me to be working in radio and then eventually doing podcasts and doing all kinds of other stuff and doing on-ground events also, there's so much that goes on in a job. So similarly, like, if some kid was to come to you tomorrow, what credentials would they need? Like, why would you hire them? What all would they need to get a job with you?
So it depends on the role. If it's technical, so we would definitely need something technical. But let's say if they want to come into, for example, sales or strategy. So even if they're good at research, or even if they're good with coming with crazy ideas, just that fact, I love to sort of talk to people who want to learn, because हमारे पास तो पूरी lab है जहाँ पे technologies हैं. So, we want to do this in the future as well, to open that lab to a lot of, maybe creatives first, and then to just normal students as well, to see what they would do with this technology. So, for example, if you've got like interactive projection, so let's assume we've mapped your building with projection, and it's interactive at the same time. So what does a very creative person take that tablet and design on your building? What can they do?
Yeah.
Maybe I can't think of that, what that kid can think. So I want to see somebody with an innovative mindset, not restricted, and who comes and who wants to learn new, who's
That's
curious.
Really cool. I hope this lab opens. I would be the first one in line to come and check it out and send lots of kids there, because I feel like these are the things that are missing from activities for our kids.
Yes.
We have the generic activities, but these kind of things will open their minds to a different future.
And I think we took some time into understanding this. पहले होता था, and अभी भी I think conventional है where kids can go for art and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it took me some time to understand maybe it has to be us for that next generation space or lab. So we take the responsibility on ourselves.
Yeah.
That maybe, with the passage of time, or if we get more established, we want to do this creative stuff and we want to give them these opportunities just to see what they create.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Well, anything we can do to help, like we connect you to people or whatever to get it done.
For sure.
I think it would be really cool for us to do it.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you see, because from our conversation, I feel like you have purpose. It's not just about campaign you do the campaign, you put the technology together, and then you do a successful campaign, and then that's it. Or then zyada se zyada you go for an award campaign or whatever. It's not just that. I feel like you have ambition and you have a path, that your journey is not over just yet. You've made your company, you've established it. Now, what's next? Like, where do you want to take this?
Sure. So we wanted to transform advertising, and I think that would always remain at the heart of the company, right? So we want to use technology for, advertising is one, but maybe in the future, edtech, education technology, maybe healthcare technology. But, also coming back, even at this point in time, we know that competitors are, and we're always happy to listen to people coming up and trying to do all of this. So we want to sort of disrupt this and sort of once and for all put our industry in a direction where it's innovative and inventive for the long run. So Abhi, we work in out-of-home activations, events and retail, but we want to sort of expand this to other domains as well and try to disrupt all of those.
Right.
And not for a very profitable reason. I'm sure money is going to flow in. But, just disrupting and causing a change through our knowledge and experimentation with technology. So that will remain at the heart. And, we want to do it in Pakistan only. Although we will be expanding abroad, but I think we want to keep our head offices in Pakistan. We want to sort of create that change over here.
Right, okay. All right. Now, more curiously, are there any out-of-home campaigns that you thought, okay, this is too crazy, this will never get executed, but it did? Or you came across and you were like, I can't believe they did this, I want to do it too?
So there are a lot of campaigns. Like you said, you have bookmark campaigns. I think we also bookmark campaigns at the same time. So more than campaigns, I feel experiences. Because we also, we call ourselves like experience company. So we develop and design experiences. So I had this chance of going to Universal Studios this past year. And the experiences that they have created, like Transformers experience, wearing your virtual reality goggles and how the thing completely moves. I think that sort of transformed me at least as to what all is possible.
Right.
And I think I just called my team, I think from there only, we need to do this.
Yeah.
And, my team, as usual, says, nahi ho sakta. That's the first thing, but we would want to do it. So creating those experiences and how to evoke those emotions using technology, right? So essentially, we just have those goggles on, but the feelings that are coming in, it's basically as if we're actually there.
So how do you push your team to like keep that creativity pumping and to keep their spirits up? Because I mean, it's not easy. There will be roadblocks. There will be times when you actually can't do it.
Sure.
So how do you get around it, and how do you keep your team like going?
So I think I'm lucky in the way that my team, or especially my core members, are really focused and directed and believe in the vision. So my only thing is sort of reiterating the vision whenever things are going, haywire.
Right.
Is, just to remind people as to why we're doing what we're doing. And I think that just sort of re-energizes everybody else. So A, I'm lucky to have an amazing team. And B, it's just the vision that everybody's locked in. So agar ye cheezein nahi ho, I think it's very difficult for people to, come in and put in the same.
Do you do any like creative exercises with them or no?
But if you guys do, please tell us.
We've got loads. I'll help you guys out.
Please.
We usually play games in the office.
Oh, really?
To just keep things going. Like you have a slow day, because we have to write content all day long. We work with content constantly.
Yeah.
So the brain we don't get a break. So when we do take a break, we're still technically working because we're playing those games on air. We're playing those games on our shows as well. So that's what we do. That's how we kind of, yeah.
So we do cool stuff, but we might come off as being a little boring at times. So maybe we need these games.
Why not? Why not? What's the, so you were saying that you guys pick the locations also for some of your stuff that you're putting out there. If you had to choose a location anywhere in the world, where would you project your stuff onto? I mean, you've done Liberty. That's one place.
So we're going inside the water. So I think
that's a big one.
So I think, even from your earlier question as to how we come up with ideas. So the good thing that has happened over a period of time working on this, I think us and our strategist have got this lens that we're able to see different locations in a different way, right? So, for example, if I look at your building, there are different kind of ideas that will generate within my mind. कि इसकी छत के ऊपर क्या hologram हो सकता है? क्या इसके ऊपर projection हो सकती है? क्या इसको हम connect कर सकते हैं with the cars passing and with their speed, the content changing on the building?
Right.
So that's how we started.
So that also you do that too.
100%.
So if the car is going faster, the content will.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's just one of the things that we do.
Right.
So because we've got this whole array of technology, we've got developed this lens that we start thinking of things differently. So Liberty पे I'm sure 100 लोग गुजरे होंगे उससे, but we came up with the idea कि यहाँ पे ये होना चाहिए. Shara Faisal पे we've got some ideas that we'd love to do, maybe in the sky or something interconnected.
Let's do it with 89.
Yeah. So,
like I would love to like have like 89 projected off of like a building coming at you or something.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah.
So Shara Faisal is one of the locations I want to do something. Something with planes we've been thinking about. So there's a lot. So the good thing about technology and this multimedia experience is the world is sort of like your canvas, right? So it's just where the technology is today, और वो उसको हम कहाँ तक लेके जा सकते हैं. And I think marketing for a very long time has been pushing those boundaries. I'll give you an example. In Russia, I think Pepsi or Coke tried to project on the moon. Look at that. They were unsuccessful now, but I'm sure, look at the thought, like the crazy thought कि हम चांद पे projection करें.
So, but it is, you're absolutely right. The more you open your brain up and the more you kind of push conventional, regular advertising, the better the results there will be. 100%. And also you might just, like you and I are sitting here in Pakistan talking about that campaign.
Exactly.
So just imagine.
Exactly.
So
that's the thought process. And because and these are all new age stuff that's happening. So जो दुनिया में हो रहा है अभी वही हम पाकिस्तान में करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. So I think that's also one of the reasons why we're in this. And what keeps us motivated is this can be one of those domains in which maybe hopefully soon we can also match where we are with this technology or strategy with what the world is doing today.
Right.
Because in everything else we're years, if not more behind. Right. So maybe technology is one balancing act that can happen. And hopefully we can contribute to it in some manner with our company.
Right. What's the funniest or the weirdest reaction you've ever gotten to one of your campaigns or one of your creative pieces?
I think there's a lot. So
people gone up and tried to touch the hologram.
Yeah. So I've heard, because I'm in all of my campaigns, I'm on ground, right? And we don't have anything to signify. So I am amongst the public. And it's just funny for people to be telling each other how this is happening. Right?
Yeah,
so I think
you think the reactions that people would have would be like hilarious.
Yeah.
We can come and like shoot those reactions for
exactly,
you. That
exactly.
would be fun.
So it's still instilled in our mind. And I think every campaign के बाद my team sort of discuss, or we all have this exchange session कि किसने क्या बोला.
Right.
कि वो असल में बैठी हुई अंदर. So we did this campaign for Lays that Saira Yusuf was inside a 3D billboard.
Yeah.
So you feel there's depth inside the billboard and that she's sitting over there. तो वो actually बैठी हुई वहाँ पे. नहीं उसका एक model बना के वो अंदर बैठी हुई वो chips फेंक. So a lot of things. So and that's what I love about our work as well, because I've seen the experience, and this happens both in the big cities and also, we did some campaigns in the rural areas, that technology or these deployments are akin to magic for a lot of people.
Right.
Even though we feel we've seen a lot, जैसे हमने अपने phones पे videos देखी हुई हैं, but still when we're able to amaze people on ground, I think that's our win.
Was this something that was a part of you when you were growing up? Like building all of these like imaginary things in your head? Was it something that you would sit and sketch or?
Yeah. So I used to like imagine a lot, okay, as and sort of had like a digital version of a reality on top of existing reality.
Right.
So I always had कि ऐसा हो सकता है, but I'm glad that I acted on it.
Yeah. Exactly. This is how it goes. Like kids grow up to actually doing something and also benefiting the rest of us.
Exactly.
Because the more creative the campaigns, the more you open your mind to all of this stuff, the more you will also be inspired to do.
That's what
these kind of things.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what my highlights were moving forward. जब हमारी campaigns होती हैं, we put these videos online, and I've read each and every comment on each and every campaign, and not just because I wanted satisfaction, but I was looking at these young kids in universities, in engineering universities, tagging each other, that we had thought about this, or we want to do this. And I so wanted to reach out to them. I didn't have an HR at that time in my company, or I told them, please get these guys on board, right? And that was the most fun experience. To seeing these young minds open up and sort of start thinking in these lines as well.
Right.
That excites me a lot.
Very cool. So far you've got marketing and digital together. Is there any other industry that you would kind of connect what you do and connect with another industry and do something together, like collaboratively?
Sure. So I want to sort of do something in terms of education technology. We're looking at that. Defense technology is a little, it's in the gray area, but there's a huge implication of technology and defense. So that has always sort of, caught my attention. That's something I would want to do.
Right.
With the passage of time. And then healthcare, most probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is.
That's a big one. And now all over the world, it's kind of digital and healthcare is merging.
Absolutely.
And education and technology is merging.
And we were just discussing this, some days back. Now we've got operations happening across continents. So a doctor is in one continent operating on a patient who is on a different continent using those new age technologies.
Right.
So I think that's cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I after 2020, I could have never even thought of doing radio shows from all over the world, but it's happening. And similarly, everything else is also happening remotely. What can we expect to see from you guys in the, I'm hoping, very near future, because I'm waiting for that call so that I can come and check it out for myself.
For sure. So if you can expect something, I think we've failed. So I would want you to, for us to do something that you don't expect. So that would be, because every time that we get a new brief, we look at it with a different lens.
Do you have a bunch of briefs right now that you're working on?
We do. Great. We do. And it's not like, if you've done just one thing, just let's just do the same thing for another campaign, another client. We don't do that at all, even though we can, because we are the pioneers and whatnot. We let other people do that. If they want to make some money off of it, they can do it. But with us, we always approach every new brief as a new client and an opportunity to do something new. So if we keep on doing that, hopefully, you won't be able to anticipate what we do next. So
cool. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up, what pops out from some corner of.
Hopefully, you're going to be there on ground.
100%. I'm going to be there
for sure.
But like for everyone else out there, keep a lookout. You never know what might just pop up from where and what kind of creative stuff you might find out there. And if you do, you'll know that it's these guys. So I thank you so much for doing this, for coming in and answering all my crazy questions.
This was a cool discussion, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just the first of many. I would love to, the next campaign that comes out, I would love to come behind the scenes and like do another one of these conversations to really get into it as to how you put it all together.
For sure, 100%. Yeah. We'd love to have you there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.